Tony Maceo. Welcome to another edition of Power and Strategy TV. I got the big homie down in Brazil, my man Yusef Wateef, and he's back here today to shower us with some of that game on Brazil. And there's a couple of things that I wanted to ask him about Brazil, because everybody's always talking about Brazil and always talking about going to places like Brazil, the DR, Colombia. And what I want is a realistic approach, or what actually happens when you decide to quote unquote leave the matrix. Excuse me. So what's up, Watt? What's going on, bro?
Life is good. Life is good. You know, spring broke here. Not that it's ever really cold, meaning winter here. I've got a zip up hoodie that I wear if I leave the house at 6 or 7 o'clock in the morning.
Okay.
Outside of that, it's not even cold compared to where I was from, Niagara Falls, New York. Nah, it didn't.
Okay, is that where you from, bro? Niagara Falls, New York. Was that your hometown?
Yeah, that's where I was born.
Okay, answer me this, Doc. How does a dude like you get from Niagara Falls, New York, all the way over or all the way down to Brazil? I mean, what was your reason for going there? Why did you go there? Why did you choose Brazil? Why were you looking to leave the U.S.?
Well, Brazil wasn't the first stop.
Okay.
I've lived in 15 countries across 5 continents.
Okay.
So for me, Brazil was one of many. How did I get to Brazil? Before Brazil, I was in Shanghai, China for a couple of years, but instead of giving you a play-by-play of all the countries I've lived in, I'll tell you how I chose Brazil. And for the record, anybody that wants to know more about the countries I've been in, feel free to subscribe to my YouTube channel. But I've also got, if you guys want to check out YusefWateef.com, I got a bunch of videos I've done there and different things. Started out just writing, but now I do a lot of different things there. How did it end up being Brazil? It ended up being Brazil because when I train in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu.
Yeah, I saw that.
So I have a lot of friends. Yeah. I train in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, so I had kind of a pipeline into Brazil already. And I knew a lot of people that had been here, trained here, went back, had fun, did business, and I hadn't lived in South America yet. And I thought Brazil would be a great place to start. When you come to Brazil, you're basically going to choose between 3, maybe 4 cities. Rio, which that's a whole different show we can do on Rio. Rio's it's like a poisonous flower. It's beautiful, but man, when you read about a lot of crazy things that happen in Brazil, it happens in Rio, and that throws off a lot of the statistics. You might go to Salvador, which is the cultural hub for Black people, because that's where a lot of the slaves got dropped off.
Oh, okay.
Remember that part,
right?
But if you're coming for business, if you want to come to the hub that has the education and the money, this is where you do it. You're going to do it in São Paulo.
Okay.
That's the big one. So I came to Brazil understanding that I was going to bring my business here. I do editing, writing, proofreading. I ghostwrite some. I actually ghostwrite some websites that a few people watching may even know and love. I do that for money, but my job is with the English language. Often people bring me resumes, university papers, contracts that they've written, books that they've written, journals that they've written that need to be taken either from another language to English or from regular English to university level English. And that's the business that I built for myself. Started it in Las Vegas, kind of under the radar, in China, under the radar a little more. And then in Brazil, I just made that my primary.
So you sort of like a translator. Is that what it is?
Translation. My company does do direct translation, but when people hire me, it's because they very specifically need university level English in their writing. You're going to hire me for a resume. You're going to hire me when you have that 50-page document from your company that's going to head out to another company. That's what you hire me for.
Okay. So you basically translate these documents into English. Is that what it is? You translate these documents in English. Now you said before, that Brazil wasn't the first stop. What are some other spots you went to before you got to Brazil? And this is for the people on this channel. I know you probably have done this before, but the people on this channel that are watching, we want to kind of introduce you again. What are some spots you went to before you got to Brazil? And what motivated you to even leave the country in the first place?
Oh, okay. Some of the places I've been to before Brazil. Where do I go first? Let's go backwards. I've lived before here I was in Shanghai, China for a couple of years. And what I will also do is just to help jog my memory, I'm going to do this. Shanghai, China, Australia, I lived there for a while, Spain, Japan, Malaysia, Thailand, Singapore, Fiji, Hawaii, which is part of the United States. There are some countries I've been to in and out of that I don't talk about publicly because it was just kind of a, let's just go over to this border and go do something and come back and go see these people and come back. You can't do that anymore. Anybody watching, the world has changed to the point where you can't just go certain places, go to the border and say, hey, we just want to go over to this country for a little while. And can we get a visa the day of, stuff like that. You can't do that anymore.
Okay. And was it, you just wanted to basically travel or get up out the States? Well, what I'm trying to ask you is that I hear a lot of brothers these days when they're talking about going down south, or they're talking about going south of the border, they're mainly talking about sex tourism. Nobody's really talking about business. They don't talk about culture. They're talking about sex tourism. So are you telling me that you are probably one of the few brothers that actually explored a business opportunity outside of the continental United States?
I would not like to put out there that the only reason men are coming to Brazil is for sex tourism, because that's actually not the case. Though I will freely admit the people who come here to live are businessmen, but that's few and far in between. 99% of the men who come here from another country to live are doing business here. The people who come here for a holiday, it could be either or. I have friends that range everything from coming out here looking for a wife or a girlfriend to guys coming out here looking for brothels. And I'm really, that's not my thing. If you've seen me talk about Brazil and then the other places, interestingly enough, quite a few channels and news outlets have contacted me about my writing and asking me to write about Brazil or asking me to talk about my experiences. But very few people publish the content because I'm not going to just look you in the eye and say, yay, Brazil, get off an airplane. It's going to be all these Brazilian women that want to bang you. Or, yay, come down here because doing business is easier than in America. You're talking about one of the single largest cities in the entire world. I think Sao Paulo, Brazil ranks anywhere, I think 11th place. I'm not sure. I'll have to double check. It is one of the largest cosmopolitan cities in the world. A lot of people don't know that. And they come here not realizing you're stepping into a New York, an LA, a Shanghai, Tokyo. And go ahead.
One of the reason I say that is because when I ask that question, I'm reflecting a lot of what I hear on YouTube, especially black male YouTube. Every time I hear, for the most part, whenever I hear men talking about traveling or going to Brazil, it's in reference to a woman. It's not about business. Now, no doubt, I'm sure there are some dudes down there, that come down there and do business there. I'm sure there are those guys. But a lot of times when I hear it, they're talking about going down there. It's sex tourism. That's what I'm hearing. So my thing is I want to know about the business opportunities there. I want to know about the economy there, not just about the pussy that's in Brazil.
Oh, you came to the right house. Because
all right,
I money is my favorite thing.
You and me both.
Okay, just to give you a little background on me for those who don't know, I came from a background as a financial professional. For about 9 years, I did investments, insurances, making money grow for people understanding how money works. And I can tell you Sao Paulo has so many opportunities. Now, I have an advantage. Some of you may have an advantage. If you come to this country with a university level education, you have the leg up on everyone. Now, here's the dirty secret. That's true everywhere in the world. Every city I've been to, the fact that I'm part of the smallest minority in the world, which is educated people. A lot of people don't know that. The smallest minority in the world is anyone with secondary education. Anyone with university education becomes the smallest minority in the history of mankind. When you can do that, and you can go two different paths. You can go the corporate path, which I did an article called Corporate Whore Before Entrepreneur.
Right.
And I tell people working corporate America, starting anytime in your 20s, is is a good idea. Do it for 10 years and then quit. Learn everything about the business, but then quit and start your own. Better to have a business where you actually make less annually, but keep 99% of it. Well, less than 99 because Uncle Sam's got his hand in your pocket.
Always.
Then to work for a major corporation and you make a sliver, and I mean a tiny sliver of the salary that they're going to give you. I mean, that's just a no-brainer. So when you come here, you have the opportunity to start a business doing a lot of the same things you would in any major city. Now, I will also say that people who come here who want to do business in the digital sphere, for example, I earn revenue in Bitcoin and local Brazilian real, as well as American accounts that I have. But when you can do business digitally, and it doesn't have to be, I don't make money off YouTube. I have a YouTube channel. I hope everybody subscribes. That's not how I make money. My YouTube channel, because I get to meet cool people like you, Brother Tony, but, or bash these women in the head with Inner Beauty TV because Nicole is trying to give them the game for free and they don't want to listen, but that's a different story. All right. For me, my business model is what feeds me. People always say, well, where can I donate to your channel? Don't donate to my channel. Hire me if you can hire me. If not, just share the content. My editing business does well. My writing business does well. I coach people on university level speech. Before I was ever a writer, I studied formally persuasive writing. I did persuasive speech as a child. I did public speaking as a child. And I teach that to people. A lot of the people from other countries that speak English need to speak English as well as they do their own native language. So they'll hire me for a couple of months before they go on a TED Talk and work with me for 6 hours a day on pronunciation, enunciation, how to answer questions, nonverbal body language, things like that.
Is there a standard hourly wage you charge for that, or is it that due to your education you can basically charge whatever hourly wage you want, or how does that work?
A lot of my contracts aren't hourly. They're contract as in we need to get from here to here and we're going to pay you a lump sum. I do some hourly work. My hourly work depends on the specifics of the contract. I also want to be clear. I do zero advertising. And this is an important point. This is something that my mentor in the financial business taught me a very long time ago. I have a network of clients who are willing to go to war for me. My clients are the people that grab their friends by the face and say, listen, you need to call him and you need to hire him. Because no matter what I do, I'm going to be in the top percentage of the people doing it. I do not fail my clients. So I can ask for a higher rate than most because I come so highly recommended. And they notice that they never saw me advertise anywhere. But another CEO called his friend and said, listen, I know you've got to go to London in 6 months. I need you to talk to this guy so that he can help you get your speech straight. I need you to talk to this guy so that when you send in your proposal, because you want to be a TED Talk presentation, he can refine that proposal to a way where it's going to stand out among everybody.
So basically, you got a name through your clients. You got your clients are your marketers. In other words, your reputation, word of mouth is how you.
Yeah.
That's okay. Okay. Well, how long have you been? Well, let me ask you this question before I go on about Brazil. How was living in Brazil different than Shanghai? Because if I had my druthers, I would rather go to Shanghai as opposed to Brazil. But how is it different? What's different or better about Shanghai? Different or better about Sao Paulo as compared to Shanghai, I should say.
Better is absolutely the wrong word. Better is absolutely the wrong word. Neither country nor city is better than another one.
Okay.
Different. You're talking about don't think of Brazil and China and America as different countries. Think of them as different planets with different cultures, different ways of speaking, different ways of communicating. I can tell you that the number one thing that I can say that's unique about Brazil that's not true in a lot of other countries. I'm an American. I'll always be an American, but I can become a Brazilian. And let me explain how that works. Here, if you learn the language, respect the culture, respect the food, and, behave like a decent person, you can be embraced as a Brazilian. I always ask my friends how long until I can refer to myself as a Paulistano or somebody born or native to the city or to the state of Sao Paulo, and they always laugh. But the joke is, it's possible. Depending on how deeply I ingrain myself, I might be able to refer to myself as such. In China, under no circumstances will you ever be Chinese. Under no circumstance will you ever be considered not a foreigner. And I've seen that break a lot of hearts because I have friends that have spent a lot of time in China, learn the language, which is an amazing feat in and of itself.
Well, I actually speak
and
Mandarin. So.
afterwards,
that's why I would choose.
Really, you speak Mandarin?
I speak Mandarin. Yes.
No, sir. Well, let me be clear. You have a skill set that should make you a fat bag of cash anywhere in the world. Because despite all the countries I've been to, I've yet to go to a country that didn't have a Chinatown. I have yet to go to a country that didn't have a Chinese business district. And when I say Chinese business district, I've yet to go to a city anywhere in the world, including the United States. Now, you might not know about it, depending on where you live, where there's a bank where everything is written in Chinese, including the writing on the wall. You might not even know it's a bank.
Okay. All right. Well, let me jump back to Brazil now. You always saying, that, well, you always told me, you said, well, someone with what you call a secondary education, that they could come to Brazil and do quite well. How does one come to Brazil and do quite well? Do you come down and advertise yourself? Is it networking? So in other words, if I said, well, okay, I want to leave the United States right now. If I said I want to leave the United States and I want to move to Brazil, let's say I want to move to Sao Paulo, okay? So how do I come down there and get set up? I know I have to get, the proper paperwork. What paperwork do I have to get? I know I'm probably going to have to get a passport. That's a no-brainer.
Well, if we're going to start ground up, here's what you would have to do.
Right.
Of course, I tell everybody, get a passport. As a matter of fact, hold on, I got something that might answer a few questions. But you would start by getting a passport. You would also get a little passport card. I tell people, go ahead and spend that extra $50 on a passport card that you can keep in your wallet. That way your passport can stay safe at home. I would always tell people, see, Brazil recently brokered a deal with the United States where you can come to Brazil for, I believe, 6 months with no visa.
What?
Let me double check that. Hold on. Let me make absolutely sure that what I'm saying, because I know that we just got a deal with, Brazil made a deal with about 4 countries, and they just flat out said, listen, we are going to let you come to this country and stay for X number of months for free.
Wow.
Yeah. It blew a lot of people's heads open because they're actively reporting certain things.
Okay.
And I would tell people before you even made the decision, I'm going to give you some advice that a lot of people won't give. I would say, I would want you to come to Brazil, and I hope you come to Brazil, and I'm going to say something that's against my best interest. You know why? Because what's in my best interest is because I'd like Tony Maceo to come hang out with me. I would say I want you to go to other countries first. Spend 6 months in 2 different countries, 2 different places, so that you can kind of get a feel of 2 different. You can triangulate the United States. Now, you speak Mandarin. I'm going to use you for an example. This is not true for everybody, but someone who speaks Mandarin, have you lived in China?
Who?
You.
Who? No. I'm saying no in Mandarin. No, I have not.
Okay, well, you got to remember, I don't.
I got you. All right, no, I haven't lived in China.
Here's where we're going to go with that. I would say I'd want you to go to China for 6 months. Find out how you have to do it. I don't care what you have to do. Teaching English gives people a middle-class income all over the world. A lot of people don't know that. If you don't do what I do, if people just do a fundamental, go ahead.
One of the things I see, man, is that I always see these ads on Facebook where they're offering, people to teach English as a second language to Chinese. And they actually do this. I teach tests at a school here locally. And one of the teachers at that school actually teach English as a second language to Chinese children. Actually, she actually does it online. So my thing is what would happen if they were actually there? They would probably be able to earn more money, but seeing as though there's a slight difference, in the currency exchange. I was trying to figure out what the quality of life would be if I actually.
It's a quality of life issue, not a currency thing. Well, here's the thing. One, I did an article called How to Leave America 101, a masterclass. I suggest everybody take 15 minutes and check that out. That's things you can do ahead of time. 2, with China, now here's the clever thing about China. They have so many schools out there. There will never be enough native English speakers to fill the hole they have for people who need to speak English.
So what you're saying is that there's a heavy demand for that.
Yes.
Okay. Okay. So back to Brazil. You basically said that the restrictions are fairly liberal. They're fairly liberal restrictions if one wanted to come to Brazil and set up shop. Okay, so you come down there, you do everything you're supposed to do your paperwork. How do you come down there and instantly plug yourself up into the system there where you can make a good living? How does that, how do you do that?
Well, the first thing I would say is if you can get a job where your career allows you to be online, that would be huge. Because you can take your laptop and get a very simple place to live in Brazil, in Sao Paulo, Brazil. Nothing too flashy, about $400 a month can get you a nice bachelor apartment. And be able to work online, getting paid into either your cryptocurrency Bitcoin account or your American business account that allows you to take money out with your debit card or credit card in another country. That's the goal.
Okay.
That's the gold standard. I would say until you can get your network built up as far as what you're going to do, even before that, go get a fundamental English teaching license. There are so many companies that are not the expensive ones. You can do that. Teach English for 6 months because you can actually make a middle class income doing that for a school.
In Brazil?
In Brazil. If you play it right. Now, I had the benefit of, every place I go, because I have a large network, I knew people that plugged me in and said, here's where you would apply. Here's where you take your, you got to have the skills to begin with. And I stress this over and over again. I know people who call me and email me and they say, why do I want to come to Brazil? And I say, great, what do I do in America? And they say, well, I don't have anything going for myself. That's not gonna
fly.
No. Well, think about what I said in that video when O'Shea Duke Jackson did a video with me and he asked, is Brazil worth it for black men? And I said, well, it depends on whether or not you were banging the girls you wanted to bang in the United States and in the other countries. If the answer is yes, I'm a man that has put myself in a position to be attractive to the women I choose to be attractive to, you'll have no problem in Brazil. If you haven't, you'll come here and get taken for a ride.
So basically what you're saying is, in essence, if you don't have any game here, the game there isn't going to be any easier. That's what you're saying.
No, not at all. Not at all. No. Who said it? Was it Martin Luther King or Marcus Garvey who said there are those among us who are useless in the United States and will be equally as useless in Africa? I want to say it was Garvey. I'm not sure.
That was Marcus Garvey.
Okay. Yeah. So if you're useless in the United States professionally and you have no certifications, no accreditations, not everybody can go to college. But in the year 2020, which we're basically in right now, if you can't go online, I know people who were born in countries that are entirely bankrupt and destitute. I don't mean them personally. I mean them personally in their entire country who got online and said, I'm going to learn how this Bitcoin thing works and started flipping money around. I know people that learned coding just by going online and taking a bunch of free courses and studying on YouTube, and a year later are writing websites for it. The game is there if you want it.
Right. Okay. So in other words, they have to be effective here. They have to be effective here. They have to have some marketable skill in North America before they would be able to make any money in South America.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. Because in North America, you speak the language and you have a circle of friends. In South America, you get here, and that's the other thing I would say. If you're coming for a holiday, great. I want you to come and have fun. If you're coming because you want to make a life here, you need to start practicing your Brazilian Portuguese. Get a free app online like Duolingo. Study that for half an hour a day. Go online and research online Portuguese teachers that you can find for $20, $25 an hour. If you find a legitimate one, and I know several, find a legitimate one and we'll sit with you on Skype for an hour so that when you get here, at the very least, you can read a menu, read a subway station, read a bus to know where you're going, know the basic, hey, how are you? This is my name and this is my resume. A good teacher will not just teach you the basics. They'll teach you the combat things that you need. Like if you're going down there for a job and you're going to be working in English, you'll still have to present yourself in Portuguese. So a good teacher is going to say, well, show me your resume. I'm going to write your whole resume for you in Portuguese. We're going to go over it line by line so that even though you're not fluent, you're going to be able to sit with somebody who wants to know who you are and say, here's who I am on my resume. This is what I did then. And you're going to hire me because I'm a native English speaker and I have this certificate for this or that.
And they accept those certifications, basically. If they're here, just because they've gotten them here in North America, they are acceptable in Brazil. It's not a situation they got them in a different place down there. The certification.
Yes and no. If you're an independent contractor, they will accept them. If you're working formally, full-time hire for a company, you would have to get your documents certified back in the United States and a bunch of other stuff. There is no wrong way. Oh, by the way, I found something for you. Check this out. Boom, boom. Read that headline.
Brazil dropping its visa requirements for U.S. citizens.
And look at the date.
Time.
March 21st.
Damn. This year.
Mm-hmm.
Wow. Wow.
So
now what you're saying is easier than ever.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
That's the door is open.
So for a basic middle class income, what's the quality of life for somebody that makes, let's say, about 45 grand a year? What's the quality of life one can have in Sao Paulo, Brazil, if they make that kind of money?
You would be in the top 1%.
What? That's sick. Off of 45G?
Let me tell you something. Okay, I'm giving you the game. What a lot of people have done is found a way to have a loophole without breaking the law. The government doesn't ask for you to pay back college loans until you make over a certain amount of money. But that amount of money that you earn is still so low that it's still so high with the exchange rate that in Brazil, you can still live well.
What? It's basically the exchange rate is what you're saying.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So that puts you in the top 1%. So what you're saying is if you make anything over that, you would be the elite of the elite in that country.
Yeah. Like I tell people, listen, if you want just a okay middle class life, if you can bring home $1,000 US a month, that's more than. Hold on, let me find out what 1,000 USD is. 1,000 USD in Brazilian real. 1,000 US dollars per month in Brazil right now is 4,063. Okay.
Damn. That exchange rate is sick.
And I actually had so many people questioning me on the cost of living and whether or not they can afford it and blah, blah, blah. I wrote it out. Yeah, Dollar Will said a Social Security check is a good living. He's telling the truth, but a lot of people don't want to wait till that point in their life to get over. Do you see what I'm putting on your screen right now?
Yeah, hold on. Let me blow it up here.
Look at this. I wrote an expense report. Okay. I'm going to give you the highlight reel. I'm not going to go too deep. I'm not going to read it all. I'm just going to give you the top ones. Rent. 300 square foot apartment, $360 US a month. That's 1,400 real at the time of this writing. A maid that comes in twice, maybe 3 times a month, cleans everything amazingly well. That's 70 US a month. My cell phone is 50 US a month. I buy a bag of fruit and vegetables for $50 a month that I can't even finish. Meat, about 40 a month. My gas bill, which I use my stove for, $8.
Damn.
$8. Electricity bill, about $24 a month. Internet, $25 a month. My gym, $22 a month. I bought the yearly pass for my gym where I work out. Transportation, my bus, subway, that's $40 a month. Laundry. I can take my laundry down the road. The lady runs a little laundry shop at 2 locations. It will come back in 24 hours, washed, folded in a plastic bag, scented. I had to tell her to stop putting that fruity ass scent in my clothes because they would fold everything up, fluff it, dry it, put it in the bag, and put the scent in there with it. I'm like, I don't want to smell like this. Movies, $40 a month. Snacks, $50 a month going out with your buddies. That's all real-time information.
Wow. Okay. Well, okay. I apologize for this. I still have to learn how to put these niggas out of here. I got this dude in my chat room talking about my cousin went to Brazil and got AIDS.
Am I one of your admin? I gave you a blue hammer on mine, so I'm an admin over there. Make me an admin here, and I'll clean that.
How do I do that?
You should go click on my name. I believe you can click on my name. If you see my picture, you can see 3 dots on the right side.
Okay.
Click it. What does it say?
I just see the thing with it's your name and then the mic and then YusefWateef.com.
No. If you hover over any of my comments, if you hover over with your mouse, 3 dots.
Hold on. Here we go. It says show. On your comments, it says show. You mean on your private comments or?
No, right here on the top, on the comments in the chat in the group.
Okay, no, it just says show.
I'm sorry. Are you looking at the YouTube page?
No, I'm looking at StreamYard.
Oh, that changes everything.
Okay,
hold on a second. Let me give this to you right quick. You see the link I just put in there?
Hold on. Oh, you mean in StreamYard?
Yeah. Open that link up. And by the way, this is, it's a learning process for all of us. And as soon as that page comes up, mute the video or you'll get a bad echo.
Okay, hold on. Okay. Okay.
Let me know if you did it.
I see what you're talking about now. It's one where I can report, put him in timeout, or hide user on this channel, right?
You would say hide user.
Okay.
And then go to my name, and you should also get the chance of make a admin, make a moderator. If you go to the last comment I put.
Okay.
Did you have the option of making me a moderator there?
Yeah, I did.
Okay, so now whenever you go on, whether or not I'm talking on your channel, doesn't matter. You build a group of friends that you trust so that when you're all on together, you don't have to worry about that, because as your channel grows, of course, you're going to have knuckleheads, and if I'm there, I can just sweep that under the rug before you don't have to take time out of your day.
Yeah, I made you a mod here. I don't like that. A little bit of niggatry is okay, but I don't like these niggas to come in here trolling. I don't like that. So I don't buy trolls. I get rid of them quick. I get rid of them quick. So, but anyway, you were saying that you can basically come there and make a good living. You come there and you were putting up, your bills and your expenses. And it seems like, it's rather low. You were talking about $8 a month, something insane, like $8 a month for gas? That's your gas bill.
Yes.
And your electricity is what again?
25.
Damn. Now, let me ask you this question. Do y'all have the option of green power? Or how does it work? Is it a gas company? Are there utility companies, or do you have the options of green energy or green power or what?
I personally just have a regular electric company, just like I did in the United States, that sends me a bill once a month. I got a cable company, just like the United States, and they send you a bill once a month. My cell phone bill, it either comes in the mail, but I switch it so they just send me an email saying, "Hey, pay up."
Oh, okay. One of the guys in my chat, Dollar Will, he wanted to know how much is healthcare there.
Great question.
Let's
go deep on this one. Let's go real deep. Ready? One of the advantages of living almost anywhere outside of the United States, and I love America. I'm an American. I'm never going to give up my passport as being an American, but I can tell you this. We are the only developed nation that makes people pay for medicine. Every other nation in the world, even the most poverty-stricken nation, will say, listen, we'll make you pay for a fancy house and a fancy car and a fancy computer. We'll make you pay a little bit extra for that cell phone, but medicine, hey, we'll just take it. We don't want you to be sick. What a lot of people don't factor into, living in a country like Brazil, which is also true in the UK when I lived in London. It's also true in China. Here's the thing. Healthcare on a fundamental level and a medium level is free. You can get a free checkup. It's free. Yes, the word free. And I'm a man who abhors the word free, but here's the thing. It's not free. Your tax dollars pay for it. Because that's one of the areas in the world where people look at it and say, why would I force someone to pay for medicine? I have friends that have conversations with me that say things like, is it true in the United States you pay for medicine? I say, yeah. And they say, well, what happens if you can't pay? I say, you just die. But What if I need surgery? Well, you'll You just don't get surgery.
Yeah.
And it breaks their head to think, wait a minute, aren't you people the richest country in the history of mankind?
So basically what you're saying is socialized medicine.
Exactly what I'm saying is socialized medicine.
So what you're basically saying is Medicare is completely free. The medicine, the surgery, no matter what it is, it's free.
Mm-hmm. No, but because here's the thing, there are expensive options that you can pay for. Really? You can pay for the upper middle class options, but here's what a lot of people don't know about healthcare. Prevention is everything. My ability to just say, I hurt myself in the gym the other day. I'm going to go to the doctor and see if I got a muscle tear. You might stand in line, but it's better than not getting it at all.
Wow.
Now, I want to address a few things here. Dollar Will, healthcare, to be direct with your question, there are healthcare plans that you can purchase here. I have the privilege of, I don't have any kids or anything like that. I can pay for, if I don't use the public healthcare because I earn enough money to pay for a private doctor. And I also feel like it would be disingenuous of me to tap into a system that I've only recently started paying taxes in. Maybe when I'm older, I will. But right now I'm young and I'm healthy anyway. So for me to go to the doctor or get a checkup, I'll just pay for that. Grand Admiral said, sometimes I wonder if healthcare should be free, though. I often believe that the unfit should not be allowed to live, at least many of these homeless. I don't think he's trolling when he said that. Well, what I do think is that I've seen...
I think he's just being honest, but that's so we have that in this system where we think that people that don't have money don't afford, should not be afforded life, or they don't have the right to life, even though they're poor. We have that mentality here in this country. The stuff that we hear at the news outlets tends to make us mean and silly people. So we say things like that, and we call it political discourse. But I think this is him expressing the echo chamber that he hears in this country. I'm not saying you trolling, bro. I'm not saying you trolling. And I don't care about it being unpopular. My thing is it's just, to me, it's just the echo coming from, that right wing, that Fox News, right wing, Breitbart, patriot type, free market capitalism propaganda. And I'm not really, I understand it, but I'm not really high on that. So go ahead.
I'm, you know what, Grand Admiral, by the way, shout out, I'm going to go deep cut on Grand Admiral's avatar he's using. That's Grand Admiral Thrawn. I know for certain who that is. That's a deep cut. I like that. I appreciate the nerddom. Okay. Y'all that don't know, look, if you know, you know.
Right.
This is what I'll say that we have in the United States. We have something that is politically referred to as the strict father model of politics. You guys can look into that deeper later. If you want to Google it, it's called the strict father model of politics. What that does is it says that anything you get, you must earn. Now, earning can be used as a punishment and a reward, like in operant conditioning. And in some cases, that's a good thing. Making your kid earn his bicycle by giving him 50% of the money and saying, hey, you've got to go earn that other 50% by, I don't know, volunteering at the hospital. Okay. You might have to earn that fancy new phone you want. But you should not have to earn shoes. You see what I mean?
Right.
You should not. So in the United States, one of the biggest lies ever told is that if you give people free medicine, they'll be lazy. If you gave everybody a free diamond watch, maybe they'll get lazy. You give everybody a free MacBook Pro computer, yeah, they might get lazy. But when people don't have to worry about medicine, they become more productive.
So in other words, if you give them that ideology or that line doesn't work with basic necessities. If people can get basic necessities, it doesn't mean that they're just going to be lazy slobs. Is what you're saying. So if they're able to get the basic necessities, it actually makes them more ambitious, more hardworking, more industrious. Is that it?
That's exactly it. And I think you're a little nicer than I am because, yeah, that's exactly it. That's exactly it.
Well, as a veteran, I'm a military veteran, man, and I'm gonna tell you, man, I thank God for socialized medicine as a military veteran. Being able to go to the VA, which is not the greatest in the world, The VA is not the greatest in the world, but it's better than nothing. It's better than having to, go out here and try to make your way on your own. Being able to go to the VA and show your ID and get treatment, and then when you're able to go to the pharmacy and you're able to pick that medicine up and keep going, and you don't have to sit here and worry about going into bankruptcy, trying to protect or preserve your health. That to me, man, that's one of the best decisions I ever made, was going into the military to get those socialized benefits. But I think over here, people are so comfortable, and we've become so propagandized with this type of echo chamber and this propaganda and these jingoistic lines from the right wing, to the point where we stop thinking about these things. We stop thinking of how much of our tax money goes to, the defense industry, how much of our money goes to health, how much of our money goes to public health. So it's not a situation where we're getting something for free. We're just simply getting what we paid for. And it sounds like what you're saying is that Brazil understands that.
Well, here, and I'm going to go deeper than that. I wouldn't look you in the eye and say Brazil knows that. I would look at you and say every country that's not the United States knows that, because we're the only ones who don't do it.
Wow.
That's the part that gets you. When you realize, from the richest to the poorest, the concept of not giving the people medicine is such a foreign thing that it's just aberrant. Let me back up. Inner Beauty TV asked a question, and I'm going to address that real quick before it gets buried in the comments. I'm also going to leave her a link. Let's see. Check this out. I'm gonna give her and anyone who's listening a link, because she said, what about education, higher education, and violence? So I'm gonna do two quick things. One, I'm gonna give her this one. I did an article called Brazil, Violence and Danger Where You Are. And in that, basically, I broke down this. If you had a news outlet that reported what the crime rate was in one of the deepest, poorest parishes in Louisiana, one of the most gang-infiltrated areas of Los Angeles, or some of the deepest, most depraved and deprived housing projects in New York City, what would be your opinion of the United States?
That it's crime-ridden.
Thank you. Now, what happens when you have a country like Brazil, which is one of the largest, landmass, it's enormous. You have a city like Sao Paulo, which is one of the top 10 or 11 in the world. If all you did was get reports on shootings, maimings, stabbing, drug trafficking, you'd believe this entire city was just like you get off the airplane and you get stabbed. But what's interesting is that people say the same thing about the United States.
Wow.
They actually say to me, why? Why would I go to your country and get shot? Now, here's something that a lot of people have brought up. This is where it gets ugly. In other countries that I've been to, there is violence in every country. In Brazil, there is violence. In Brazil, there's violence among police and drug lords. Police shoot into crowds of innocent poor people all the time. But in Brazil, I have the luxury of living in a place where it's just, could I have my phone stolen on the street somewhere? Sure. The odds on a cop even looking at me sideways, I just don't live in that kind of area. But in the United States, you can be at Walmart picking up some eggs for your protein shake and have a madman walk in and open fire.
Well, that's what I was about to say when you said that you could have your phone stolen, on the streets. I'm like, hell, that sounds like New York City.
Thank you.
Because when I lived in New York City, New York City is great. And we always talk about the culture. I like going to Mark 125 when it was standing. Yeah, I love going to the Apollo. I love going to the Schomburg Library. I love going to all of those landmarks in New York City, but that shit was grimy and it was violent. And I didn't see, again, so when people say that, I'm shocked, because it's like, okay, you don't think about Detroit that way. You don't think about Chicago that way. You don't think about Harlem that way. You don't think about Cleveland that way. You don't think about some parts of Memphis and Atlanta that way. You don't think about some parts of New Orleans. At one time, New Orleans, at one period during the late 90s, it was like one of the most violent cities in America. New Orleans, the city of Mardi Gras, supposedly. It was one of the most violent cities in the country. So, but I think over here, the our media outlets make a great to do,
Yes.
or they extend, or they make a grand effort at demonizing. And I notice they only do this with countries that have some form of socialism. They always go to the extreme in showing how violent those countries are. There's always a scare tactic. They always use something to frighten the people away from going to those countries, because they know if those people go to those countries and see how those people live and see how the culture is and see what their approach is to medicine, what is their approach to education, what is
Oh
their
wait, I
approach
got one for
to
you.
taxes.
I got one for you. This may apply disproportionately to the people watching this. Ready? You can go to countries where they say, I hate Americans. Me and you, Tony, could pack up right now, go to countries where they say, I hate Americans, and be invited to dinner. You know why?
Why?
Because when people say they hate Americans, they're never talking about black people, brown people, Latinos, or immigrants. That's something interesting you find out traveling the world.
Well, that was something I used to hear a lot from the OGs that went to Vietnam.
Mm.
They would tell these stories. They would say a lot of times, like when the VC, the Viet Cong, or the guerrilla fighters would come in their camps, they would come in and slit the throats of some of the white GIs. And they, because of the currency that blacks had from the civil rights movement, they would come in and slit the throats of the white GIs, and they wouldn't touch the black guys. They wouldn't touch the black guys.
My father was drafted into Vietnam, and it messed his life up. But I'll tell you, there were only 2 times in my life when he talked about it. He used alcohol to mend his wounds, which was to his detriment. I'll tell you another interesting story. He said they would have propaganda coming over the radio saying, hey, we're talking to you, black GI soldier. If you turn around and shoot your white officers right now, we'll let you come over to our side. We're poor. We're poor. We don't have much, but you'll be a human being. Now, here's the kicker. Then the officers would say, oh, don't listen to them. They're going to torture you. And then the propaganda coming over the radio would come back and say, we can prove we're not going to hurt you. We know your white officers haven't told you anything important for us to torture you for anyway, have they?
Yeah. That Blade said something that's very important. He said the people in other countries separate the American government from the American people. And I think that's a very important thing, especially when it comes to black people.
Yes.
They'll tell you in a minute they see you as an American, but you're different. You're part of them, but you're not part of them. And one of the great political maneuverings or machinations of the VC was to say, they say, this ain't your war. Why are you here? Why are you here fighting for them when, you can't even get a cup of coffee, at a lunch counter? Why are you fighting for them when you can't even get decent housing? They could exploit the social fissures in American society to their benefit. And I looked at, the situation. I don't know if you're familiar with the name Frank Lucas.
Gangster.
Yeah, the gangster. Yeah. Now I was trying to figure out how was it that, his cousin was able to go up there. He was in the military too, but he was able to go over there and make a living. He was an entrepreneur. He was a business owner in Vietnam, while you had, of course, he was a drug runner too, while all these other black GIs are over there getting shot in the jungle, while all these other guys are over there getting massacred. But he's making a fairly good living as an entrepreneur in Saigon, while everybody else is getting chopped the fuck up. So my thing is okay, they have to be. And then again, when the VC descended upon Saigon, and you saw that iconic footage of all of them leaving and getting on those helicopters.
Yeah.
You didn't see very many black people leave. A lot of them stayed over there and they kept their businesses. While a lot of those people were running and leaving, a lot of those people still had businesses over there. A lot of those people still conducted businesses over there. So it was clear that they saw us different than the way they saw the ordinary white person. I know what it was, because a lot of times white people took that same old funky ass, white supremacist or white racist ideology and pathology over there, and those people really weren't digging that, And so I think they looked at Black Americans in a sense as a kind of kindred spirit. And it gave them a kind of currency over there that they didn't enjoy in the United States. And it gave them a kind of opportunity. I mean, if you're talking about economic equality, it gave them an opportunity for real economic equality, which is what the free market is supposed to be about. So I just found that interesting. And I find it interesting when you say, that you have that opportunity in Brazil, but here we're always talking about we can't get loans, we can't get this, we can't get that. But what you're saying is that if you have the right tools in place, you can come down there and with little or no money, you can truly be a part of the, what is it you said, 1%?
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
That sounds like real opportunity.
If you want it, if you're somebody who's already on the grind, here's what people find out. If you work just as hard here for yourself in any other country, but I'm going to use Brazil as the example. If somebody like you, who I know to be a worker, put in that same amount of work here, your lifestyle would change in a way that I can't really explain to you. Or you could do what I do, right? I don't work nearly as much as I did in the U.S. I could make a lot more money. I don't, because here's what I do. I traded out the money I would need. I lead a very good life, but I spend most of my time lifting weights, speaking Portuguese poorly, exploring,
Right.
That's the game for me. But if I wanted to, I could work myself to death. As it is, I'm already hiring somebody for my company because I got out of the game. I semi-retired when I was 37 years old, and I'm not looking back.
Wow. So basically, you make your own schedule. You see clients when you want to see them.
Yep.
But it sounds like to me you have a lot of leisure time, or what's called recreational time. You have a lot of recreational and leisure time left over to where you can just basically enjoy life.
Yeah, I made it a point to, and I want to be clear. I worked my ass off. This is what I was like when I was working in corporate America as a financial professional. And I don't know if you can see that picture.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah, that me. You might not like me then because I was just cutting throats and taking names. If it wasn't about the money, don't talk to me. I don't have time. But I had to stay gritty like that, and I got out early.
So you was basically on your grind, constantly. But I was able to see the tunnel. A lot of people I know that are still in the business said, we can't believe you left. You were making good money. You were doing this, you were doing that. I said, I don't want to be like you in 20 years. Most of the guys that I came up under are making a shit ton of money, yet they weigh 300 pounds, and they think that buying their wife another diamond necklace is going to change the fact that she's fucking your pool boy. They work all day and all night to take a picture with a politician or a president, yet their own children, they couldn't even tell you whether their son bats left-handed or right-handed. So what you're saying is the quality of their life in terms of the time that they have to themselves. Even though they make all that money, what happens is they become underdeveloped human beings. From a social standpoint, from a personal standpoint. Interesting.
Yeah.
Interesting. The place where you are right now, São Paulo, I think that's the right name.
São Paulo.
São Paulo. What I want to know is what is the ethnic makeup of São Paulo? What's the ethnic makeup there?
You're asking a question that I really can't answer. Not because I don't live here, not because I don't see it. When you just Google what is black in Brazil, there's no answer. Brazil is one of those countries where everybody's mixed up. But what you are is dependent on two things, not just your skin. I've had clients talk to me and say something about black people. And I was like, well, what do you mean? Well, black people. And I said, but I'm black. Well, you're black, but you're not black. And I'm like, because you got to remember, in their mind, being black is a combination of an XY axis, your skin color and your income. So there are black people in Brazil that consider themselves or believe that they are considered by white people as white because of their income level. I didn't know that some of the most famous black people that Brazil had to offer, going as far back as Pele, they didn't marry black women. Brazil had a policy, and this is a different conversation for another day. They had a policy for a long time. The way they attacked racism in Brazil was better than the way that racists in America did it. In America, they had the one drop rule. Either you're black or you're not. And the side effect of that was we were all black together. Here, they said, no. You're all different colors of black. So you people are a little bit better than these people. if these people look better than these people better than that people. So it created this stratification where people didn't get to be black as a joint unit together. And when slavery was over, they said, listen, the way we need to fix our country is by literally breeding out blackness. So they encourage as much interracial marrying as they can to lighten the population up.
That's sort of like what they have in Jamaica. They have that sort of race stratification system there. They have, the different categories, because they're octoroons and quadroons. Those are two different categories in Jamaica, as opposed to someone that is quote unquote fully black. And I'm trying to figure out how anyone could be fully black after almost half a millennia in the Western hemisphere. But anyway, they have that type of stratification system that you're talking about in Jamaica. They actually do that. So what you're saying is there is basically a spirited round of racial deconstruction.
Yeah, and people will tell you, particularly white people, love to say we don't have race here.
Okay,
but that's a different conversation we can have. That's a totally different.
They said that the Grand Admiral Game said at least there's a chance of upward mobility. It sounds like there's a damn good chance of upward mobility.
Well, wait, let me back up. Where did he say this?
He said at least there's a chance of upward mobility.
I would say upward mobility exists in the United States and Brazil. I would say that I can't answer that question for Brazil, though, because one of the things I won't allow myself to do would be to become so arrogant as to believe I could answer what is true, not true, possible, or not possible for a Black Brazilian man. Because I know as a Black American man, my rule book is different.
Right. Okay. All right. So now that we've explored that, let's get on to the thing I know that all these niggas want to hear.
What?
Let's get on to the shit, dog. I know all these niggas want to hear. All right. Let's talk about the women. Okay. When you first got to Brazil, when you first arrived there, when you decided that, you were going to stay there, it wasn't for a visit. What was the dating scene like? And how were the women? Were the women more cooperative? Were they more feminine? Were they more submissive? Was it a situation where you had to have quote unquote a slick mouthpiece? Was it a situation where you had to have game? Was it a situation where they were looking at your money? What was it like to be a Black American man trying to date in Sao Paulo, Brazil?
First, let me refer everybody, before I even get into it, I'm always going to refer people back to this. I did an article because a lot of people ask me the question. It's called Easy Brazilian Women on my YouTube page. Check it out. Now, to answer your question, and I know I'm going to make a lot of people mad.
I don't give a shit about making niggas mad. I don't care about that. I don't care about that. I don't care. Do what you do. Do what you do.
I am a knuckle-dragging, throwback, savage monstrosity of a man. The side effects of that include holding myself to a standard that says I'm going to exercise. Now, for me, it's lifting weight. For somebody else, it might be boxing or yoga. I hold myself to a standard that says I'm going to master something with my hand. For me, I do blacksmithing and writing. For another man, it may be two different ones. I educate myself past school by saying I'm going to read at least one nonfiction book every month to learn more. Now, the direct result of those three things mean women aren't an issue. It's not an issue for me in America. It wasn't an issue for me in China. It's not an issue for me in Japan. It wasn't an issue for me in London. If you come to Brazil and figure out, okay, listen, I don't have much going for myself. If you were just going to buy some women, why go pay for the plane ticket? If you want to go buy women, go to your local neighborhood stroll and save the plane ticket. Because you can do the same thing here.
Why? That's what I've been saying for months. Why would you get a passport and pay however much it is to go to Brazil to trick on a hood bitch when you got big booty Keisha up the block?
Now, here's the thing. A lot of guys come here and they come out with that whole, they say, she gives me the girlfriend experience. She's like my girlfriend. I'm thinking, what you're experiencing is economic disparity. If you were in the United States making that much money over most other people, you too could go out and find a beautiful woman that's young, any color or shade you want, with the right body proportions that make you happy, and you could have her doing the same thing. I'm not angry about it. I just don't want people to believe that getting on an airplane is going to make your dick bigger and your social networking skills and navigation skills better. It's not, because I will tell you one thing I've seen happen out here. I know men that have been robbed. I know men. I know a guy who went to a party downtown.
Hoes don't rob niggas in Brazil. That don't happen. That only happens on the block. That happens in the projects. That would never happen in Brazil. Not as feminine and submissive as they are. That's heresy. That's heresy, sir.
Well, listen, let me get on my heresy kick.
Have you blaspheming Brazilian women on my channel? Only American thoughts do that. Only American thoughts do that. Brazilian bitches do not do that. They are feminine. They are submissive. No, sir. No, sir. I will not have it. I will not tolerate that on Mr. Wateef. Not on my channel.
Okay. Let me give you just one story. Speaking of bad decisions with women, when we get done here, we're going to go to my channel, and I want everybody to come because we're going to have to do some. Yeah, I'm going to have to break some things down. Guy I know came to this country, regular business cat. He went downtown. There's a place called Faria Lima where they have a big circle, a square. You can go out there and get everything from a hot dog on the street to seeing people playing the drums to parties out there. And it's a fun place. I'll take you when you come. He meets two girls that were together. They start talking to him. He starts talking to them. And one thing leads to another, and they go back to his place. Now, this is where I said stop. I need to ask you a question. I know what it's like to talk to 2 or 3 different women into doing all kinds of degeneracy with me in my apartment. So I understand what I'm looking for, what the signals are for yes and no, and blah, 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 blah. And I understand the acceptable risk. Is this normal behavior for you? No. Okay, continue. The story goes, he got to his house, and then he woke up a day and a half later.
A day and a half later.
That's the whole story.
A day and a half later.
He woke up a day and a half later. That's the story. Yes.
So what the fuck happened when he was asleep?
They robbed him, and to add insult to injury, when they robbed him, they put all his stuff in his suitcases and hauled it out.
What you lying? What you lying? They don't do that.
I mean, they got him for the cologne to his suits that he had.
So are you saying that he went all the way down there to get robbed by a Keisha?
Yes, he did.
Down in Brazil?
Yes, he did. Yes, he did.
He could have been robbed here for half of the price. He could have been robbed here for half of the price.
This knuckle dude had the audacity to be angry that the man at the front door, a lot of places here, like I have a front door man that lets people in and out. He said the front door man saw them with my luggage and didn't stop them from leaving. I said, okay, well, first of all, they are his countrymen and his country sisters, right? You aren't. 2, how do you know they didn't slip him a 20
for him to look
to say shut the fuck up and forget what I look like?
Yeah, that sounds like
how much does the doorman make? He's a minimum.
Yeah.
3, how do you know they didn't do this to the last dude that was in your apartment? How do you know he don't see them twice a week in your apartment where foreigners live? By the way, I live in a regular ass neighborhood. I stay away from places that are foreign ghettos. Any place where too many foreigners are, it's not for me. Not for me.
Sound like the black
Yo, but that's the thing. People come here and they're like, well, these women are different. No, they're just tricking you in a different language. You just don't speak that language yet. Don't worry. There are good and bad women everywhere.
They're what? What did you say? They're what?
They're tricking him.
They're what?
They're fooling.
They're tricking him?
Is that the right? I guess that's the right word. Is that the right word?
They're tricking them. Oh my God, they're tricking them. Damn.
And you know, we've had this discussion.
Let me ask you something, because one of the things they say is that the women are more submissive. The women are more feminine there. They don't have to deal with women being manlets. They don't have to deal with women being. Here's the thing: they will get upset about women here, by bitches in the United States. They talk about how they're promiscuous, but then they cross the border. They go down the border, and then they don't have a problem with those women being promiscuous. That fucks me up. Like, you have all of this, this bile and this acid towards women that are promiscuous here, specifically black women. They talk about how promiscuous they are, how many dicks they juggling, but you don't have any problem going down there looking for a woman that's juggling dick in another country. And my thing is, I'm trying to figure out, okay, I know what ratchet hustling is. I'm a thought whisperer. I know what ratchet hustling is. And it seems to me what they're doing is they're going down there. They're going down there looking for thoughts. And it seems to me, okay, if you're going down and looking for thoughts, what kind of places would these thoughts hang out? What kind of disposition would they have? Do you think that they would not rob you as quick as a bitch on the block? Do you think that, they would not, jack you? They would not have you set up. They would not, in some cases, have you kill. What's the difference? I mean, and then they'll say, well, the police down there are more violent towards them because, you are a tourist. So the importance of preserving an amicable relationship with the United States, you have that type of social capital to where they will look out for a foreigner more than they will look out for their own.
Wait, who said that?
That's what a lot of these guys will tell you. They will say that they have a special degree of protection because they have a little money. They have a degree of protection because they are quote unquote successful black men. And when most of these niggas are just popping their collar on a pension, and I ain't mad at them. Yeah, I ain't mad at them. They doing what they got to do. They balling on a fixed budget, and they popping their collar on a pension. But then they say, "Well, I am a successful man," and they think that success status translates down there to Brazil or to another country, like let's say Colombia, and they think that it makes them immune to the rules of common sense to the point where they don't have to worry about. They would take a drink from a woman that when they didn't see her mix it. They would sit down and eat food from someone, that's brought to them that they didn't see them prepare it. All the usual signals that they would look at and be cognizant of here. It's like when they go down there, they instantly take those people down there. They take the relationship with them as though they have nothing to worry about.
Exactly.
As though they're going to just be honest and forthright.
I know a lot of guys that found out the hard way. They meet this girl on the block. Turns out she's just doing some low, middle, or high-level hoeing. He gets mad. When she leaves, what does she do? She calls the cops. You know why she calls the cops? She said, this dude robbed me, didn't pay me, blah, blah, blah. None of this could be true. But what do you think the cops are going to come in there and say, excuse me, sir? This young woman is clearly out of her mind. She said bad things. No, they come in, they kick in his door, and they bust his head open. Because they see you all the time. If anything, they're jealous of the fact that you come to their country. A lot of men come to these countries with the expectation that they can just treat these women any way they want to with no consequence and find out the hard way. But they never come on YouTube and say, listen, I went down to Colombia or Brazil or Japan and I found out, the hard way. I need to treat these women well.
So you mean the police support the hoes?
They support people who are from their country.
What? So the police protect the hoe, and good luck, nigga. It's always the projects. Anyway, that's the thing that I've always been amazed about. It's like, okay, they would say that the women are more feminine. I'm like, if they're more feminine, it's usually because they're more calculating. They're more sinister. They're playing on the fact that you expect them to be different,
yes.
Then the chicks in the U.S., you know what the old saying is: the punch that knocks you out is the one you don't see coming.
Exactly.
So I think when they go down there, what happens is they tend to go down there and they go to sleep. They go down there and they go amongst those women, and those women flash a smile because a lot of niggas are thirsty for some type of companionship that they claim that they don't get here. They claim they don't get it here, and they said, well, brothers going abroad should be encouraged because their options open. And my thing is, your options open if you are a top tier dude. In other words, if you were on your grind, if you were on your shit in the US, then you would transfer that energy. You would transfer that swag to another country and things wouldn't change. But a lot of these dudes are basically busters in the US, but then think that if they go to Brazil or Sao Paulo, that they're going to automatically transform and become Max. And if I understand you correctly, you're saying that that's just not the case.
No, sir, that is not the case. A plane ticket does not buy you game, confidence, good look, muscles, the ability to go out there and talk to a woman without stuttering. None of that comes with a passport. Passport comes with, I think, $100 guarantee on lost luggage. That's about it.
So just if a nigga's 500 pounds in the States, he doesn't become 250 just because he crossed the border. That's what you're telling me.
No, I think he becomes 279 kilos, which is still fat.
Okay. So in other words, changing location is no substitute.
No.
Okay. All right. That's one of the things, because they'll say, well, why are you, because I know the next thing is going to be, well, why are you downing brothers? Why are you discouraging brothers that want to travel or leave them? I'm not discouraging anybody. If you want to travel, go ahead and travel. But let's be honest. I've always said, do what you want to do, but just be honest about what you're doing.
Exactly.
Just tell the truth about what you're doing, because none of these conversations have anything to do with the economy. None of these conversations have anything to do with the business opportunities. None of these conversations have anything to do with the culture. None of these conversations have anything to do with the history. All of these conversations are about pussy. Every single one of them is about pussy. So my thing is that if every one of them is about pussy, and I'm saying you going down there, and it's always the same type of girl when they're talking. It's always the hood chick in Brazil. It's always the chicks in the poorest part of the country who they're going to. And I know what it is. They're looking at these X videos, and they're looking at shit like Toticos, where these white boys go to the DR, and they have these dark skin. Don't ask me how I know it. Somebody just informed me of it. Where these white boys go down there and they get these dark skin Dominican Republican women, and they just do all kind of shit to them. So they think that they, the perpetual international trick. They just go down there and they're able to go down there to the most impoverished sections of the country and think that they're just going to easily come up on women, as though those women are not going to scheme on them, as though those women are not going to set them up, as though because those women are economically vulnerable, they're somehow different than the women that are economically vulnerable here. Hood bitch is a hood bitch is a hood bitch is a hood bitch.
Now, here's the interesting part. There was a dude who has a channel. He's in Costa Rica or Colombia, black dude and his girl. His name is Bo Rakes, Beau Rakes. I haven't met him yet. If anybody knows him, tell him I'm looking for him. I want to have him on my channel. But he said something interesting. He said, when he would walk down on the beach or go whatever, they'd see an American dude and they'd say, hey, you basically, they're throwing a pitch at him. You want to have some company for the night? You want a girlfriend for the afternoon? Whatever. And he said he realized something. He would say to the girl, well, listen, I don't, how did he say it? I'm going to misquote him. I'm going to give you the gist of it. He said, I don't buy sex, but I do need to eat every day. Can you cook beans and rice? And he said the hookers would look at him and be like, is that some kind of a weird sexual practice, or he's mispronouncing the words?
Yeah.
He said, well, can you cook? Can you clean something? And the girls be like, well, yeah, I mean, because at home they got to cook and clean for their father, 4 brothers, and go out hoeing at night. So he pulled off. He said, so what he would have these girls doing, they'll come to his house. He will give them the money. They'd go shopping. They'd come to his house, clean from top to bottom, cook for him. He's paying them less than they would be on the corner, but at the same time, he was giving him something to do to earn money that didn't involve laying on their back. So these girls actually got he was like, they got protective over him. They wouldn't let other girls come by and see him, because they were like, wait a minute, I don't have to suck this dude's dick. All I have to do is cook and clean, do shit I'm doing at home. He's paying me less, but I'm still making enough to maintain my dignity. Now, I'm not telling you that works everywhere in the world. I'm telling you that might be kind of game that's exclusive to him. Everybody, how can I put it? It's kind of like in one of the vampire movies where they say the dark gift comes to each of us differently. He's got his game and I've got mine. You've got yours. But right. I got to salute that.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, it is. Because if he managed to get what he wanted out of him, and then also he showed he wasn't thirsty, because that's what a lot of dudes do. Right. Is right. They go down there and they run up on a woman and they're thirsty, and that's something women can sense. When you're thirsty, women hate niggas that are thirsty. They, especially hood bitches, hate thirst. Now, some people say, well, they're thirsty, they're attention whores. Yeah, they want the attention. They don't want to give you the attention. They don't want you to be like them. You see, so you have a lot of dudes that they run up on these women and they're thirsty for pussy. They're thirsty for validation. And I think the women sense that. And I think that they play on that to their advantage. And it's like, okay, you can't get mad at her playing the game when you gave her the cheat codes. You can't be upset. But then they'll say, well, if they go to Brazil, that they don't have to deal with anything like that. If they travel, because a lot of dudes saying, well, the world is open to you, black men. If you just travel, you can expand your dating options. And my thing is, okay, that may be true, but my thing is if you didn't have options here, I'm trying to figure out.
You're not going to have them there.
Exactly. So I'm trying to figure out, is it something magical in Sao Paulo? Do they bathe in the water, or, is it like the Midas touch? Where they come down. But
here's the thing. I also want to dispel that myth that I want to dispel the myth that when you come down here, you're going to just find all these people that are so much poorer than you are. They got to pay attention to you. What a lot of people don't understand is that there is social stratification according to income here, just like any other city. You get what you're looking for. If you're fishing in a shallow pond, yeah, you can catch up with something. My thing is, you're looking for a girl, cool. You want a cute girl, cool. Go to the mall. Learn how to talk to that girl that's selling ice cream on the corner. How about that? Why don't you go into the store, they're selling leather jackets, and learn how to say, listen, I'm not here to buy a leather jacket. I'm here looking for a girl pretty like you. Learn how to say some shit like that and risk getting shot down. Instead of saying, oh, I found all these poor girls. Why don't you go to a bank? The bank manager helps you open your bank account. Talk to her and say, hey, you know what? I'm new to this city, and you seem like a career-minded woman. Why don't we go have some coffee? But that's heresy, right? That's crazy talk, isn't it?
Yeah, of course it is, Watt. Of course it is. Of course it is. See, you're a hater. That's what it is. You're a hater, Watt. You're a hater. You're just trying to discourage niggas from getting they swerve on. You just don't want us to travel. You want us to stay in the matrix. You want us to deal with these manlets. You want us to deal with these hood bitches. That's what you're trying to do. You're trying to keep all the bitches for yourself down there in Sao Paulo. That's what it is. This is a nefarious scheme that you have cooked up, sir, to monopolize all the pussy in your city. And we will not stand for
it. So when do you get here? When you coming down for a holiday, man? When can I count on you to show up? We're gonna start looking for a little Airbnb someplace nice in town, and you can arrive, let's say, late at night, get you a good night's sleep. The next day we're gonna have some breakfast, start seeing the town.
That one I gotta figure out, dog. I gotta look at that because I have some things going on here. But me and Mike were talking about coming down there. We thought about coming down there, but I had to look at that because I have situations. We were talking about coming down there, checking that out. Because everybody was talking about, everybody's talking about Brazil. I actually went to Brazil because when I was in the Navy, that was one of the places we stopped at Rio, though. We didn't come to Sao Paulo. And Rio was off the chain. But again, we were sailors, we were servicemen. So it wasn't like that. When we went there, I'm just telling you, when we went there, we were looking for pussy. That's what it was. We were looking for pussy. We were on the boat, we were looking for pussy. That's what it was. But as far as coming down there and looking around and setting up shop, I think that would be educational. That would be educated. Would definitely be something that's an option, because anything that would allow me to make a little bit more money, especially at that level that you were speaking of earlier, 45,000, put you in the 1%. That is an option that needs to be considered. So it's a lot of brothers, because we had one brother that went down there and he used to do broadcasts from down there, and he was down there and he passed. He passed down there, and he was always admonishing and encouraging brothers to come down there and and deal with the women and so-called quote unquote escape the matrix. But I've always
wait a minute. Are you what's his name?
What was his name was Charles Tyler. You remember him?
Okay, he was a friend of yours?
No, he wasn't. He was just a YouTuber that used to encourage, he was one of these guys that was saying, that the women in Brazil were different, that there was a level of femininity, there was a level of, that the women possessed a degree of femininity, a position where they were more amicable, they were friendly, they were, easier to deal with,
Now, here's the thing, right? And I wish he was still alive, because his ghost still lives on. He did a lot of shit that did a lot of damage.
What? How so?
he is one of the main reasons guys come down here looking for these sweetheart deals and end up getting robbed, rolled, and sent home penniless, or falling out with some girl that they had no business messing with. Selling that myth. I mean, there are other groups just like that have different people in different groups proposition me to help them with their businesses, and some of them are lucrative. What a lot of guys don't know is that when they set you up to come down here to this party, we're going to meet some girls, and you're going to get lucky and it's going to be fun. What they don't know is those are prostitutes anyway. But a lot of guys don't know that. They think that I just went to this barbecue and all these girls that I can meet, and it just so happened that all of them are 21 with a certain body type, and I happen to get lucky. But these guys, I mean, and there's a couple people that's got problems with me, but I'm okay. I'm here under my own name. Anybody can talk to me about it. He was responsible for a lot of negative impact down here.
Well, it's blasphemy. If you say something against, because he is blasphemy. He's like a deity in Black YouTube. They do not like you saying anything against him because he encouraged brothers to travel. He encouraged, and he was, it was always an atmosphere where he made it seem as though Brazil was just one big party. That's the way he
exactly.
made it seem. He made it seem like it was just one big ass party, and I'm like, that's unrealistic. No place is one big ass party, and that's how he painted it. And in a lot of his videos, when I watched his videos, that's how it was a lot of times. And so he became popular among certain sectors in YouTube. And then what happened was that when he died, and I thought it was, and I'm not throwing no shade on him, I'm not speaking ill on him, but I'm just saying how it is. When he got down there and he died while in Brazil. They had to take up a collection to send him back to the States to bury him. And I thought that was ironic. You have, or you portray, or you show all this hedonism, and you're supposed to be, or the narrative is that this is for men of means, but yet they have to take up a collection, essentially, to send you back home to bury you. I just thought it was something like really grimy about that. But that's the image that's being painted. And so anybody that says what you say, you're automatically a hater, because what you're doing is you're discouraging brothers from traveling. You're discouraging brothers from,
I'm not discouraging anybody from traveling. I'm telling everybody to come have a good time. If you say, I want to go to Brazil and I want to have a good time, I'm going to go downtown with my buddies and we're going to pick up some good time girls and we're going to just travel around them for a while. Do it. Live out that fantasy. But what I don't want people to do is think, I'm going to go down there, not speaking the language, with a pocket full of money. I'm going to find a woman who was looking for me, even though no women were looking for me back in, I don't care if it's New York or London or Glasgow, Scotland. No one wanted me back there, but I'm going to convince myself that this woman, who has all the options in the world open to her because she's under 30, no kids, she has all the options in the world open to her, but she picked you. At the same time, I don't understand why people can't reconcile themselves. It's like, if you want to buy some women, I don't endorse pimping because I see that as a throwback to some of the worst slavery, especially because it's done by Black people to Black people quite a bit. But if a woman wants to sell some ass, excuse me, I'm okay with that. But these guys come out and then they get mad when this girl who was born with nothing turns out she was lying to me. Because I want to be clear. People should be glad that Yusef Wateef was born in the United States of America. I'm a clever man. I'm good with numbers, and I'm very, very good with words. If I was born on the other side of the tracks, you better believe I'd be robbing people using the internet and everything. And I'm very serious about that. If I was me, if there is a twin corollary to me living anywhere in sub-Saharan Africa and, dirt poor Istanbul, that's a dangerous person. Because if he has all that potential, knows that he's smart enough to get around some things, I'd either be in prison or I'd have everybody's wallet in my pocket.
Wow.
So how do you tell this girl who was born in a country where she doesn't have the options because she was born just like being born in the dirt poor projects of, if you're born in the dirt poor projects of New York City or the housing or trailer park in Ibba Jabba, Wisconsin, and you're white, you have no real options. Yeah, you went to school, but you got about as much options as those girls. Of course, she's going to say, how can I get this man to facilitate the rest of my life? And there's nothing wrong with that for her. If she says, I'm going to trade my youth, beauty, right, for years with him in return for security, that's the oldest transaction
in the book,
in mankind. And I'm okay with that.
Me personally, my position. I support tricking on the global plan, tricking for everybody. But I've always said, be honest about what you're doing and don't be a fool, you know. But I think some dudes, someone in here said earlier, he said some dudes are in here. I think it was Ken Dog. He said a lot of men are starved of femininity, which is in low supply in the hood.
Did you see my
And
reply?
yeah, I did. And he didn't agree with that. So I think that it's a situation, man, where I think niggas are just thirsty, man. Niggas are just thirsty. And who is? Well, let me ask you this question. I'm gonna ask you this question. I'm gonna close up shop because I don't want to be too long on here. Who is Commando Vermelho? I think that's the name. Commando Vermelho. Who the hell is that?
From what I know, it's a large street gang.
Okay, it's like what's it? S whatever 13. What's that gang they got? The gang they have up here?
MS-13. Here's the thing.
MS-13. Yeah, MS-13.
Not my circus, not my clowns. That's some shit you could ask me about it, but I don't live. I don't live in that world, so I can't help you. I don't know.
What's an average day on your block, man? I mean, what is it? What does your block look like where you live? I mean, you walk out your door and you see what?
Okay, it's 6 a.m. and I have a client that says I've got a contract for you. I want you to drop by my office downtown. Let's say I talked to him the day before. I said, okay, we're going to meet tomorrow. He'll say, what time? I'll say 7 a.m. And they say, well, 7 a.m., that's kind of early. I say, yeah, well, all serious money is moved before 12 noon anyway. 6 a.m., I walk downstairs. Maybe I'll catch a Uber pool. I live in a very regular neighborhood. The streets need repair in a lot of places, but that's infrastructure failures in Brazil. When I walk outside, I can walk downtown talking on my phone down the street because I live in a regular-ass neighborhood. Not downtown where there's a lot of tourism and stuff like that, or where there's a lot of business people. Yeah, phones get snatched. When I walk outside, I'm talking on my phone. I'm going to go to the same lady across the street that has they just took over another little restaurant. I might have a little short cup of coffee and wait for my little Uber pool to pick me up. I'll get in. I'll make some small talk with the driver. We'll go down to the business I have to go to. I'll do some business with him. And maybe if we can sign that early, we'll go have breakfast. I might take an afternoon break. Maybe not. I might go home and do some work on my computer. Then 3-4 in the afternoon, I may go see another client in a different place, or a client may have to do a video chat with me. He may send me a couple of documents and say, I just need you to work on these and still send me the billable hours. And I'll do that. Then either 4 or 5 o'clock in the afternoon, I'm going to hit the gym for about 90 minutes, or because here's the thing, I don't want to be in the gym when everybody gets out of the work. So that 5 p.m. to 8 p.m. window, I don't want to have to fight people for the weight rack. So if that's the time when I do have time, I'm just going to give that a break. I may end up going back downtown and seeing my clients because I try to group my clients together. So I may be with a company, a corporation that hires me to work with 3 people over the course of 4 hours. So I might be with them from 4 p.m. to 8 p.m. or from 5 p.m. to 9 p.m. And then I'll jump on a bus home because there's a bus that just goes straight down the road to my house. I'll get home, goof around on the internet, do something like this. I'll get home, do a little reading for the evening, have dinner. Yeah, that's my day.
So in other words, it would be no different than if you were in New York City, if you were in Raleigh, North Carolina. It would be no different than if you were in Birmingham or any other metropolitan city in the United States. It's still the same with you.
Yes, that's a reasonable statement.
Because my thing is that it seems as though it just seems like you just shifted locations. You just moved. You didn't miss a beat. You just left the United States, then you went to Brazil. You moved into Sao Paulo, and you just picked up and kept moving. You just kept it moving.
I just kept it moving. That's exactly correct.
So, in other words,
I'll go down to the movies or blah, 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 things like that. But that's, yeah.
So your block in where you live in Sao Paulo, with the exception of maybe the economy, with the exception of, of course, your business contacts, it would be no different than any other block, except for the culture. I understand that the culture is different. I get that. And I understand that the community and the way they see their society is different. But essentially, you just go about your business. You just go about your business the same way you would if you were in the States.
Yes. Yeah.
Okay.
People ask, how do I feel walking around the streets out here? I feel fine, mainly because I didn't live in poverty in America in dangerous places, and I don't live in one here.
So that's basically what
It's
a
not
middle
even more
class,
complicated.
middle income community. Is that what it is? The area where you live?
I would actually say I'm slightly below middle class because it's safer. Here's something I have noticed.
Wait,
People
stop,
I know
stop, stop.
that
You
have
said you're
had
slightly below middle class, but it's safer.
yes.
Explain that. I'm sorry. Explain it. You said slightly below middle class, but it's safer. So what you're saying is it's working class, but it's not the hood. Is that what it is? Is that what you're saying? And
It's
that's
working class. I'll give you a true story to illustrate my point. One of my buddies came from Las Vegas, where I used to live, to hang out with me for a couple of days. We were having fun, blah, 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 blah. The night before he leaves, do you know the next day he wakes up and I can't find my wallet. He's mad, frustrated, doesn't know what went on. He gets on the airplane, 7 o'clock in the morning. 12 noon, I get a call from the front desk guy, says, come downstairs, I got something for you. I thought I got a package in the mail.
right.
Hand me my buddy's wallet with his credit card in it and his driver's license in it and his money in it. The story was this. He dropped it at a restaurant down the road. The waitress at the restaurant picked it up, gave it to one of the taxi drivers that hangs down and says, hey, run this 2 blocks up the street to this apartment complex. The big black guy and his friend left it here. Give it to the doorman. The doorman takes it, says, right, thanks, calls me. Now, I'm not telling you that story is true everywhere in the world. I'm not even telling you that story is going to work out for everyone the same way in Sao Paulo, Brazil. What I am telling you is that I live in a regular-ass neighborhood. I live in a neighborhood where I see people carrying their children to the school not nearby from here. I buy my chickens on Sunday. There's a lady they have full roasted chickens, not eating an entire chicken for lunch because I'm big like that. They know who I am. I know who they are. I've gone to some of the fancier neighborhoods where some of my other friends live, where they say, oh, you should move down here where there's no public transportation. You can't jump on the subway. I'm 15 minutes away from downtown where I can go have fun, go to a fun restaurant, go see some drumming on the street, whatever I want to. But here's what I noticed about their neighborhood versus mine. One of my friends lives in one of the nicest neighborhoods in Sao Paulo, Brazil. I left a house party, big dinner party they had. I left at 2 o'clock in the morning on a Saturday night. I walked outside. I saw a transgender prostitute doing business with a man under a street lamp. Now, the transgender is incidental to the story. I don't care either way. But I was like, what? And I texted my friend while I'm in my Uber going home. And they were like, yeah, that kind of happens out here because this is a place where, these businessmen come home from work or go to work or their wife is asleep and they go. And I'm thinking, is this one of those neighborhoods? Because that would never fly in my neighborhood. I've never seen any criminal behavior, prostitution, street number hustling, none of that, because it's a neighborhood where people have children and jobs. You would get run off so fast trying that shit where I live. Does it happen? I'm sure it happens somewhere. But I know you're not going to walk out on the street and see that. Not with people walking their 5-year-old to school. Not when you see mothers in the morning dragging it. Come on, boy, but don't be late. Not when I see the same lady who makes coffee for me every morning across the street in the same restaurant where I go get my roasted chicken for lunch. But in a rich neighborhood, they don't know who their neighbors are. I asked my friend that once. I said, well, do you know who the building guy is or who are your neighbors, somebody you might want to call? They don't know who their neighbors are.
So anything's possible is what you're saying.
Yeah.
Wow. Well, that is. It is what it is, and everybody knows what it is. I want to thank my homie Yusef Wateef for coming on this channel. Please bear with me because I'm still getting my wings on YouTube, still learning my way around, still learning to get in the groove, as they say. So go ahead, bro.
Coming to my house next?
Yeah, I'm coming to your house next. So
let's do this.
I got to make a phone call, though, but I'm coming to your house next.
So you want to say 30 minutes from now?
30 minutes from now. I'll be over there at your spot.
So this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to leave everybody a note here. I'm going to say, Tony is on my channel in 30 minutes, so subscribe. I'm leaving a link for you guys here in the comments. In 30 minutes, he's going to be on my channel, and we're going to do a whole lot of talking about. I got some people that I need some advice on. Some guys have come to me with some problems involving women, and I think I'm getting a little emotional. I might need some cold-hearted reason for these guys. So this is my channel, everybody. I hope you all subscribe. And like I said, in about 30 minutes, we're going to be going on there. So it's always been a pleasure.
All right. We're about to get out of here. As they used to say back in the day, you know it's gonna be a stone cold gas. If you don't dig this mess, you at the wrong address. And as always, we wish you love, peace, and soul. We up out of here. Power and strategy. Power of Strategies on Patreon, Way of Strategy 44 at gmail.com. And we out the back door, baby.